Have you
Because
trouble?
like even now I'm in staying room with 3 devotees. None of them are pujaris, but they're always coming and going. They're always busy. And they got their schedules and I got my schedule. And they're going when I'm coming and they're coming when I'm going. So you don't even get to see them a lot of the time. Like sometimes in Vaikuntha and Radha Mohan and Dwarka, when they go to America, and everybody says, "Oh, you got the room to yourself now." But it's not even much different. I just do the same things, whether when they're there or when they're not there. Because even when they're there, they're not there half the time, or they're sleeping or doing something else.
In your
So
devotee,
you don't really have much time to be with anybody other than other pujaris.
Hmm.
I think that's true of the other pujaris too.
Hmm.
Maybe not, the householders maybe a little less, because then they have their family and their relatives.
I was wondering if throughout your ISKCON career you had any deep, deeper relationships with friendship with some devotees, or you've always been like more or less on your own, like.
Yeah, because I always was pretty much alone even when I was younger.
And
And the service is such too that anybody who's a pujari is, you kind of put in a position, even if you are more extroverted. And even as a pujari, you're always busy.
don't you sometimes have the need to talk to others, like you'd like to share your thoughts with someone, or?
Well, sometimes.
Mm.
But then it doesn't happen, so it just doesn't happen.
I heard that you read a lot. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that how you spend your free time, reading?
Well, not all, but I probably read more than most devotees do it. Except the ones that are teachers, and like the devotees that are teachers and writing books and things like that. I suppose they spend more time reading than I do, but as far as general devotees are concerned, I probably read more than most.
What? How many hours average do you read every?
It's different every day.
You read at least half an
And then,
hour?
I do other things too, watch DVDs and,
Prabhupada DVDs?
yeah, like Memories and Avacharn.
Do you sometimes go to India?
Yeah, I've been there four times.
When's the last time you went?
84, 89, 94, and 2003.
Oh, you went 2003.
Well, that was when I was in the hospital.
You stayed in...
I didn't go past Bombay. I got to the gate, but didn't go through the gate. So as far as Vrindavan and Mayapur is concerned, that was last time, was 94.
It's a long time. What's your favorite book?
Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
How many times have you read it through?
I think 7.
7 times.
All Prabhupada's translations.
You never gone beyond that?
Some. I've read some of the other, but not all of it.
Mm.
But like when I say I've read the Bhagavatam 7 times, that means up to Lord Brahma's prayers.
Okay.
which is as far as Prabhupada got.
His purport. So.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I've read all that 7 times.
Did you ever
Like,
give?
I still can't say I really studied it.
Mm.
My reading is sort of in between. It's not really casual, but it's not real studious either. It's kind of in between.
Mm-hmm. Do you reflect on things when you read them?
Yeah.
Do you quickly
To some extent, but I try to follow a schedule too, and get through it in a certain amount of time. So I can't say I really study it.
Mm.
But it has kind of a cumulative effect too. After you read something over and over and over, after a while it starts to sink in a little bit,
Mm.
at least a little bit.
I was wondering if you ever
I
gave.
listen to Prabhupada's tapes too.
Did you ever give class?
Once.
Where, here in England?
Yeah. Downstairs.
When?
Bhagadatta. Can't remember. It was years ago.
Someone asked you to give class, or you wanted to
Yeah,
try?
somebody, I can't remember who. Somebody must have asked me, I can't remember who it was though.
So how was it? Did you enjoy giving class?
No, I just felt embarrassed. I'd say a little bit, and then I'd sit there for a few minutes and not say anything, and then try and think of something else. I just couldn't think of anything to say.
You think you could give?
It's like I'm the kind of person that I can get up and like I was always good at math.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still interesting, it still fascinates me. And I can explain like give you some proof for some geometric theorem or something like that, and I can do, and I feel confident. I feel comfortable with it. And go through it, but like almost anything else, I just don't feel comfortable as in the same way. It's just the way my mind works.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a machine. Like, well, I don't know. It's like a machine, but kind of like it tends that way. That's why I don't like giving class, because I just don't feel confident. I don't feel like I can.
Yeah, but you've given only
I don't
once.
feel satisfied. Well, yeah, I know, but
You can try, and
yeah,
you know.
I probably should, but like now it seems like it.
It's never too late.
It seems like it though.
It's never too late. When I started giving class, I was just a new bhakta, you know. And I must have spoken a lot of rubbish in the beginning, but you know, after some time, it starts making sense.
That's just it. After it. That's like now, if I gave class, everybody would expect so much. Oh, I've been known so many years, and the Prabhupada disciple, blah blah blah. And it's just embarrassing not being able to do it very well.
Ah, Prabhu.
Especially when it's like
You can tell
if there's a lot of people there, especially if there's some older disciples.
There's no older disciples than you anymore. You're the oldest. You can just sit down and speak about your realizations.
It's just the way I feel.
It would be nice if you gave class sometimes. Once in a month.
Like I say, the way my mind works is like I like math. I can explain something and talk about something that goes this to this to this to this to the logical steps, but you can't do that with
Of course you can.
it's not the same.
You take, for example, one subject, for example, the absolute truth. Then you just read everything that you can about the absolute truth and then explain it systematically. Explain the terms, how it applies to us. It's nice. What is the most ecstatic experience that you had in Krishna consciousness? What's the highlight of your Krishna consciousness?
Are you going to show this to a lot of people? Or?
No, no.
Okay, I'll tell something then that I've never told anybody about since 76. I think it was 76, or was it 75? Yeah, actually I think it was 75. It was after I'd been going to the temple for a couple of months. The first time I stayed overnight. And the next morning I couldn't sleep very well at night because I wasn't used to sleeping on the floor. And so I was kind of tired. And it came time for the deity greeting. This was before I had ever read anything, read much in Prabhupada's books, so I didn't expect anything. And I wasn't working myself up into, like some people, you know, you've heard of the holy rollers and Quakers and people like that, they have these experiences where they talk in tongues and they start going wild. And they work themselves up into a frenzy. But I wasn't doing that at all. I wasn't expecting anything or trying to induce anything. And I was half asleep because I hadn't slept the night before, and I just chanted 16 rounds for the first time. So I was just kind of indifferent to the whole thing. And anyways, then they had the curtains opened up. It's the first time I'd ever seen a deity greeting. The first time I'd ever heard the Govinda prayers. And as soon as the curtains opened, the Govinda prayers started. Immediately, my whole face started trembling, tears were coming out of my eyes, and my whole body was shaking, and it was just...
You got really ecstatic.
Yeah. Well, it was probably what they call shadow ecstasy. But it was like, I'd never experienced anything like it before in my life. I was just crying like a baby, and my whole face was trembling. And it's never happened since then either. Well, that's one thing that's always kept me in the movement, because I know it was the real, I can tell it was the real thing. It wasn't just something I was, like I said, I wasn't trying to artificially induce anything or working myself up to it. There was no kirtan going on. And nobody was trying to influence me to feel anything. It was just completely spontaneous. Though definitely the real thing. I've never experienced anything like that since. And then at the time, because I didn't realize because I hadn't read anything about things like that. And when I was telling other devotees about it, and I don't know what they thought, because I didn't realize what, because they probably knew more about ecstatic symptoms. So I don't know what they thought, if they thought I was just making it up, or... But anyways, then later on I found out a little bit more about ecstatic symptoms, and I just never told anybody, because I thought that they might think that I was just faking.
And what is the happiest moment of your Krishna conscious?
Probably that.
That moment, yeah. It must have been very...
it was intense.
Very real experience.
I can't really describe it. I mean, it was intense.
To keep you going for so long.
Well, the thing is, it's... makes me realize that it's true. I know from experience that it's real.
Well, all these...
It isn't just some idea or some philosophy or...
But what all these emotions...
argument or like that. It's something I know from it. Like the difference between looking at the jar of honey and opening the honey up and tasting it. So it's like that. I can tell from that, from the experience. It's not like just from reading books and being convinced of the philosophy. I can tell from that it's a real thing.
In your memories, was that related to the deities? I mean, or
not really.
Was something internal?
I suppose it was, because it happened when the curtains opened and I saw the one inside. That was the first time I'd seen the deity. I'd seen the deities before, but I'd never seen a deity that goes into first.
And that went on as long as the curtains were open and the Govinda prayers were
playing? Yeah, it lasted for several minutes anyway. And my whole face was just trembling. It's hard to describe it. Well, it's not like if you get upset or something, you start crying or something. It wasn't completely different.
Well, is there anything...
because you can be convinced about the philosophy and you still lose interest, or you can get fed up with things that devotees do. There's a lot of people that left, they were convinced about the philosophy, but they just didn't, got mistreated by devotees, or didn't get along with devotees or whatever. So things like that can happen. But once you've experienced it, you can never deny it. Like somebody might change their mind about the philosophy, they might deny something that they previously believed. But when you have an experience like that, you can never deny it.
It's tangible.
Yeah. It's not book knowledge. It's real knowledge. And even if it was just shadow ecstasy, it was still enough.
I wonder if you could tell me something about...
But I don't like telling devotees about it because, like I say, they'll just...
It's very personal.
Probably think, well, yeah, but they might think that I'm exaggerating.
So I'm the first one you telling about them?
Yeah. This is the first time I told their other devotees that the day it happened, I went around.
Yeah,
I was telling the devotees.
But not...
And they just looked at me like, they didn't know whether to believe me or not. And I didn't know what... Because they were thinking, I didn't know, well... I don't know if they were thinking that I was actually experiencing ecstasy or if I was making it up.
Yeah.
At the time I didn't know what to think,
You understand?
About what they were thinking.
Yeah, I understand. You were very new to the whole
Yeah.
experience.
I didn't have a clue what was happening.
And later on when you read
it's kind of like a child going to his parents and telling him about something, and then they say, yeah, that's nice.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I never told anybody about it ever since. And it was like 30 years ago. It's over 30 years now.
Could I ask you something else? I wondered if there's anything that has been a challenge for you, particularly in practicing Krishna consciousness, anything that was difficult for you to put up with, anything. What is the greatest challenge for you in practicing Krishna consciousness?
Well, for about the first 7 years, I hardly ever got a chance to read anything.
Change what?
Read. Hardly ever had a chance to read anything. Like up until about 84, The only thing I'd ever read from the Bhagavatam was the PTG inserts.
Ah.
And that was it. I'd never read anything from the book other than the monthly inserts. And I hadn't read any of Chaitanya Charitamrita. I think I read Krishna Bhagavad Gita once, Bhagavad Gita once. I'd read PTG every month, and that was it for 7 years. For me, that was really frustrating. I sense that I had more time to read. I think anybody that was in ISKCON in those days probably has similar stories.
Not much time for reading.
Yeah.
Work, work, work.
Yeah.
Mm. How important is reading to you now?
Well, it's still important. Now it's more of a reminder type thing.
And what kept you going all these years with one service so steadily?
Well, in one sense, you're doing the same thing all the time, every day, but in another sense, you're not doing the same thing. You're always doing one thing and something else and something else and something else. It's not like a factory job where you just stay going like that all day. You're always moving on, doing different things. Which is it's good for somebody like me because I get, if I had to like work in a factory, just go like that all day, more easily. Whereas with a service like this, I don't get bored. I'm always doing something different.
Mm.
Even though from day to day it's the same thing. But within one day, there's a lot of variety. If I had another service, I might get more bored with it. So I think that's helped me to keep on doing it. Because there isn't really anything else I want to do.
And can you tell me something about your relationship with the deities? How has that been developing?
No, it hasn't very much, actually.
Do you feel Krishna is present when you go on the altar? How do you relate to the deities?
It's more belief than it is what I really feel.
Do you have a glimpses of mercy from Krishna? Any revelations?
Yeah. It's not like, I'm not talking to the deities yet.
Mm-hmm. You feel comfortable
on that platform.
You feel comfortable in deity's presence?
I don't know if comfortable is the right word.
Peaceful, protected.
I don't feel really adequate.
Sorry, but We've got 3 minutes before the tape is finished. I wondered if you could tell me something about, I mean, if I asked you as a younger devotee, junior devotee, could you give me any advice, anything that you think I should know in my practice of Krishna consciousness, anything that might be helpful, useful, what would you say?
Your worst enemy in Krishna consciousness is complacency. So if you want to stay, you have to be engaged in something all the time. You always either service or reading, or listening to tapes or whatever. Just try and be Krishna conscious as much as you can all day long. Don't waste time.
Is it your motto? Don't waste time. Keep busy.
Yeah, keep busy.
Keep busy. Do you have any dreams? I mean, not night dreams, but any, do you want strongly something in your life? Any aspirations?
It's like all my life I've never seemed to be able to seriously plan for anything. I've always thought I just keep doing whatever I'm doing at the time.
Take things as they are.
Yeah. Like when I was in school, I didn't plan to get a degree. I didn't plan to get involved in spiritual life. It's like when I first started going to all these different places, the Moonies and not the Moonies. I met some Moonies on the street. They invited me, but I never. They didn't seem to have any philosophy or anything. Like even the Scientologists, they had books.
Mm.
The Moonies didn't have any books. I think all the groups that I went to, the ones I was most interested in were the ones that had some literature, something philosophical to read, like Maharishi Bhagavad Gita. When I first moved into the temple, I was still kind of borderline. I kept doing my TM mantra when I was in the temple.
You had been given a special mantra then?
Yeah, but they give out these mantras in TM.